The Dodgers have an unusual ally when it comes to payroll. Manny Machado. LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard hold a state the obvious contest before the NBA All-Star game, and Keenan Allen once said he only wanted to play for the Chargers. But now? Good morning. I'm James, and this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So it is February 16th, 2026. We are finally thawing out here at Ice Station Alpha in Michigan. But hey, do you like being in the know about LA sports? Well, if you do, click the like button. Click the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop an update. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. There weren't any games involving LA teams yesterday. And no, I don't care about the NBA All-Star game. That only involved a couple of LA players. Let's move on.org. There's also no games involving LA teams today. I'll be damned. 2 full days of real life without actual LA games. Hell of a concept. So with that out of the way, what do you say we get to the news? You know, keeping the direct deposit working non-stop without a pause, that makes for some pretty strange allies. Because former Dodger and longtime hater of all things Los Angeles, Manny Machado, reversed course on the Dodgers are ruining baseball social media narrative. After all those years of hate, all the relentless trolling, he said to the scribes that he thinks it's great for baseball that Slime Diego's big brothers in blue spend so lavishly on players. Quote, I effing love it. Every team should be doing it. That S is effing great for the game, unquote. Yes, just like that S that Milton effing Friedman would say when he's teaching economics. This quote is going to go over so well in Slime Diego, right? The Dodgers are ruining baseball. They hear their big Padres star talk about how great it is. That is going to go over so well. It's literally going to go over just like saying, I think Donald Trump has a good point at an Antifa rally. That is just going to kill, right? Because believe you me, those smooth-brained Padre fans, they're going to hear this and demand that the guy in the gold sneakers gets traded. Not that the Dodgers would want him back. Who the hell wants a 33-year-old infielder who will be making $40 million a year at the end of his contract? Now, to be fair, Slime Diego does have a tiny wee little point. Not about whether the Dodgers are ruining baseball. They're bleeping out of their gourd over that. But they do have a point about Machado. The Dodgers, though, don't spend money for the sake of spending money. You see, the Padres are loaded with self-centered narcissists just like Machado. So yeah, the Padre fans are right about Machado being a narcissist. That's why they're going to want the guy out. But here's the thing. You want to know why Machado all of a sudden is pro-Dodger payroll? It's because he wants to keep every dime of the contract that he currently has. If there is a hard salary cap after the next labor stoppage, if there's a labor stoppage, he might get cut. So it's not that he cares about the Dodger payroll. No. He cares about keeping his own pay. That's the reason he said all that mess. And side note, about his pay, he still owes a check to a Dodger fan because he lost a bet over whether the Puds would win a title before LA. Whoops. For all the talk about how analytics never focuses on clubhouse camaraderie, there is a reason the Dodgers let Machado walk to San Diego. But once again, Machado focuses on Machado. Machado über alles. Just like, how on the Puds, Tatis Jr. focuses on Tatis Jr., Bogaerts centers on Bogaerts, etc. Now, conversely, Friday, new closer Edwin Diaz said he chose LA not because of the payroll. He got a little bit more than what the Mets were offering, but it wasn't amazing. It wasn't like twice as much as what the Mets offered. No, Diaz said he chose LA because the players like each other. Slime Diego spent a ton of money on players and then made sure that the clubhouse had a bunch of makeup mirrors that were well lit so they could admire themselves. That's the difference between Slime Diego and Los Angeles in terms of baseball. But hey, thank you for the olive branch, Manny. We can put your olive branch on home plate at Petco Park so that we can stomp on it over and over again with every run the Dodgers score. Manny Machado, all of a sudden, Dodger payroll apologist. Ben Rortvedt did not clear waivers, by the way. The Mets picked up the vagabond former Dodger catcher. New York is actually loading up on former Dodger catchers. They signed Austin Barnes in the offseason. So yeah, got Dodger stuff to talk about. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments thread. Now, if you were looking over at Intuit Arena and if you thought the NBA dunk contest was the hottest of garbage, that had nothing on the corp of mouth-breathing sports writers at the event. The scribes swarmed LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard before the NBA All-Star Game and asked them questions so conspicuous, so patently obvious, that I am amazed that James and Leonard's eyes just didn't roll out of their skulls and roll down the court. So many eye rolls. So LeBron, are you going to retire? Like he hasn't heard that question about 9,000 times a day for the last 5 years? Dude is getting asked that question more than, when are you going to leave? It's like they're trying to evict LeBron James. Are you leaving yet, bruh? So James said, when I know, you guys will know. So obvious, so tiresome. It's as if he realizes how people in the real world are so exasperated about the question. That even if he does retire, by the way, it'll actually benefit the Lakers because then they'll have Luka Doncic and a bunch of cap space. Then, as if that weren't enough obvious stuff for the short attention span having twits with notebooks and laptops, they surrounded Kawhi Leonard and asked what he thought of the Clippers climbing back to near 500. So, Leonard replied, quote, "We're not contenders." To which all of us in the real world said, we know. The scribes had an entire weekend to poke around Intuit Arena to find a really good story, and that is the best they can do. Is LeBron James going to retire? What do you think of the Clippers rally? Oh, they're not contenders. So, once again, well done, American journalism. Meanwhile, the Clippers tried to do the nice thing. They sent out the perfunctory thank you social media post to Chris Paul on his retirement, and Paul's wife replied as if there was a multicultural reboot of the movie Mean Girls. She tweeted, "Girl, bye." Look, glad you support your man. We should all have wives that support us as much as you support your husband. But this ain't the way to do it. Dude has a legacy he's trying to protect. The more distance that basketball fans will have from this nasty little divorce between your husband and the Clippers, the more people are going to look fondly on your husband's career. Bury it. It's over. Keenan Allen has changed his tune a couple of weeks ago on Super Bowl's Radio Row, which I'm guessing is no longer Radio Row. I'm assuming it's been renamed the Podcast Sewer. Allen was saying he wanted to return to the Chargers. Chargers are bust, basically. Now he's saying, quote, I don't know what I'm going to be doing this year. Options are still open, unquote. Really? No longer Chargers or bust, right? Why are your options open? Well, it's kind of self-apparent, wouldn't you say? Much like how Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp were a redundancy on the Rams, Keenan Allen is a carbon copy of Ladd McConkey. It's the same style of receiver. And you'd prefer to have a variety of skill sets in your receiving room. The Chargers lack speed. New offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel's playbook only worked really effectively with Miami when they had Tyreek Hill. Now, this doesn't mean that the Bolts are going to go after Tyreek Hill. It means they need a speedster. They need a burner. And I think Allen's aware that at 33 years old, compared to McConkey, who's significantly younger, he's the odd man out. I realize he's a franchise legend. They might actually, if they do focus some resources on a fast receiver, they might be better off without him. The Chargers also hired Denzel Martin, previously the Steelers' outside linebackers coach. He's going to join the Bolts and run the same job. College football has way too many rankings. Prospect rankings, recruiting rankings, transfer portal rankings, the AP rankings, the college football playoff rankings. One thing that caught me yesterday is 247sports.com claimed former USC defensive line coach Eric Henderson was ranked as the #1 recruiter in the nation. And I'm not trying to clown the man. A lot of people liked Eric Henderson, my apologies. But how did a guy with just 2 years in college football pass all of the coaches, all of the recruiters from sea to shining sea? Due to have pounded the pavement for decades, knocking on doors, meeting coaches, meeting parents, calling, texting more than my wife. And Henderson passed them all in 2 years? Do you really buy that? And if you do buy that, why didn't Danton Lynn move heaven and earth to bring the guy to Penn State instead of letting him go back to the NFL? I'm not saying Eric Henderson didn't do anything. I'm just saying we need to cut down on the number of rankings. But that didn't stop CBSSports.com to come out with another. They tried to forecast and rank the top 10 explosive offenses in college football. And I'm not going to tell you this to get into our fifis, right? I'm a guy who missed out on the emo kick in the early 2000s. I don't have feelings. And I thank God for that on a daily basis. But this dingle douche over at CBS Sports didn't include USC. What? Say what you want about Lincoln Riley, but that dude could churn out some yards. That dude could turn a scoreboard into a pinball machine. USC returns Jaden Maiava, their top 2 running backs, their entire offensive line. You're right, CBS. That does suck. That's going to be a quagmire. How are they going to move the chains? But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about Manny Machado suddenly supporting the Dodgers payroll. Or did you find anything in NBA All-Star Game weekend even remotely interesting? And if you enjoyed this update, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Keon Cortell Queso production. Take care.